So if you're new to crypto, then today's show is 100% directed at you. But even if you've been around for a while, this is still going to be of value if you're looking to allocate new money into the market. I'm going to be going over 15 different altcoins in today's show, which I believe will create an absolutely stellar portfolio, which will help you to succeed for the remainder of the bull run. So if I were brand new and I was starting in crypto today with fresh capital, these are going to be the coins that I would be looking to buy. We're going to go through Bitcoin. We're going to go have a look at the stock market, as well as those altcoin picks. So smash the like button, hit the bell notification, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. We are one of the fastest growing channels in the world. I've been trading crypto for 7 years, and I've invested in probably at least 1,000 different crypto projects. My portfolio is probably sitting somewhere right now around 30 to 40 different coins, of which some of those are going to be part of the 15 coins I'm giving you in today's show. So again, smash the like button and let's get straight into the show content. You can see on the hourly, a lot of the altcoins are starting to bounce, despite the fact that you have, of course, Bitcoin, which is kind of pulling back over there. The daily, most of the coins up. You got XRP putting in yet another mammoth run. This is one that I would start to get a little bit careful. And if you look at that weekly over there, I think we've had 4 weeks in a row of green candles. And historically, we've seen actually XRP tends to top out around that 4 to 7 candles in a row of green price action. So we'll talk about that in a bit. We'll look at these charts. We'll do chart requests. Let's get into the show content. The OGs know where it's at, right? Well, if you have a look over here, this is one major sign. It is coming into fruition. We spoke about this early last week before the breakdown actually started to take place. And we spoke about shifting from Bitcoin more aggressively into the altcoin sector. We've actually been prepping our portfolios aggressively into altcoins for a number of months now, actually, in anticipation of this major top. Now, it's not fully confirmed yet. And in actual fact, there is always a possibility that the Bitcoin dominance gets one more spike up over here to set in yet another lower high. But at the end of the day, we have one candle, 2 candles, and now we have the third red candle opening over here. And this is why I said I was looking at it on a lower time frame. And the early warning sign over here, the breakdown of Bitcoin dominance, was on the 3-day chart, where you already had 1, 2, and 3. And this is where we started to get really wary that this was going to break down. Remember, a breakdown in Bitcoin dominance means usually an altcoin pump. So when this goes down, you tend to see the market looking like this within the altcoin sector, because that money is flowing from Bitcoin into the altcoins and driving the momentum towards the upside. So that's exactly what we're getting over there. We can go back onto the weekly scale. Levels that you're going to be looking at for major support, which would at the very least lead to a bounce, which might be some profit taking in the altcoin sector. I would start to get careful when this comes down into that 53% zone. Maybe that's where you get a bounce. You set in the next lower high, and then you really break down in a very big way. Although when you do look at the prior breakdowns of the Bitcoin dominance within the other cycles, you can see how aggressive it can be, right? If you have a look at this one over here, this is one of the biggest bull runs that we had, which was in 2017. You can see how aggressive, right? Small bounces and then just immediately face plants all the way back down. And you can see the same thing occurred in 2022, right? Drops, pause, causes the consolidation. And that's why ever since the bear market lows, when Bitcoin started to pick up, we said it was going to be a Bitcoin driven rally all the way back to that order block. We got exactly that. We spoke about the potential for, if it did go higher, how much higher could it go? But nevertheless, weakness in that order block is how you would trade this if it were any other chart. And that's the way that you got to do it, right? To eliminate some of the noise. So watch for the big breakdown. I think a major support area, you're going to catch this 200-week moving average over here, which lines up with the mid-range. That's going to be about 49% for Bitcoin dominance. So basically, as this falls over here, bullish on altcoins. Bitcoin, we expect, will kind of find a little bit of sideways consolidation, price action, and then we'll see that rotation out of Bitcoin into the altcoin sector, which is where things pump, right? So there's your yearly chart. I like to show it over and over just to reiterate how important this is. 3 years up for Bitcoin, 1 year down, right? 3 years up for Bitcoin dominance, 1 year down. When that 1 year down happens, it is your behemoth altcoin season, and it's all lining up as one perfect trade. We now have the confirmation that altcoins are strengthening against Bitcoin, because we actually have the breakup structure ending that downtrend. Now, there have been scenarios in the past, especially when trading ETH BTC, so measuring Ethereum against Bitcoin, where you get these traps where it looks like it is breaking out, you get the break of structure for this to only drop back down one more time. We do need to be careful of that, which is why buying the next higher low is sometimes the best risk to reward trade that you can possibly take. So you create the higher high, you break the structure. This is measuring the altcoins against Bitcoin, and then when it comes back down again, wherever that next higher low forms, whether it's over here or whether it's only over here, that becomes your safest entry, right? So keep an eye out on that. This is why you're seeing altcoins rally. Money will be flowing out of Bitcoin. Look at others as well, others against Bitcoin. This has been a chart that we've been monitoring for quite some time, and we spoke about why it's not that likely that you're going to actually hit this trend line like you did in the price cycles, but instead we believe there was going to be a little bit of front running that would be done within this region. And when we are trading at this level over here, we spoke about your worst case scenario is altcoins losing maybe another 10 to 20% at the worst case against Bitcoin, and then you would find major support. But as you can see, big spike up, breaks the structure, clears that level over there, and now it's all on, right? Everything is starting to transition, and that's why we have all of our trades on the table over here. In this, at least, account, I have 𝗲𝗏𝗏, Render, Zeus, Prime, we have Jasmy, and we have Aptos, all of them absolutely pumping. You can see up tens of thousands of dollars and hundreds of percent on these trades. We're going to build this account into thousands of percent, and hopefully we can make some really good profits. If you have been with us since the beginning, you should be in on these trades. But again, in today's show, I'm going to give you 15 new coins that you can look at to enter in with fresh liquidity if you're just joining into the market. So again, guys, smash the like button. We truly appreciate when you do support the channel, right? So also, by the way, if you do sign up using the link in the description below to Bybit, you'll automatically be able to enter into the Banter Bags giveaway, which is where we give away seed round investments. And beyond that, you can also come through over here. If you scroll through to the bottom, you'll see right at the top is the Bybit link. Click that link, sign up, join over there. And then once you've done that, you can actually come through to Banter Bubbles, and you can guess what the price of one Bitcoin will be by the 1st of January as the clock strikes 12. You can see people are currently predicting 14 minutes ago. Someone just guessed over there. And this guy's guessing over and over. Look at that. Rock, rock, rock. It's all the same guy guessing. Why is he able to guess so many times? Well, he's opened an account with each of those links, right? So each of those links will qualify you with a guess. And the more guesses you put in, you get to do one per week from each exchange account. The more guesses you put in, the higher the chances are that you'll win. Remember, whoever gets the closest guess as the clock strikes 12 on the Coinbase, at least Coinbase chart, that's where it's going to be predicted from, you'll win yourself one entire full Bitcoin, which right now is valued around $100,000, right? So go ahead, give it a go, and let's continue. So part of the reason we're building these positions over here is also because we can see that the funding rate has come down. It's not as heated as what it previously was. Remember what we saw all the way back over here. Let's just quickly line this up over here. In those periods over there where we had the orange and yellows, things are overheated. We did get that slightly, but it started to base off a little bit as the fear and greed drops down into the 80s. We'll also have a look at that in today's show. And consequently, I think there's still opportunity over here. So it might be one of the last chances. If you do get any sort of a pullback, expect that they often very, very shallow within this part of the bull run, where sometimes people are looking for massive pullbacks, right? 40, 50%. Understand that sometimes in this part of the cycle, as you're about to go parabolic, this is what the chart will look like, right? And you'll only get 10, 15, maybe on some altcoins, 20%. So have a look over here, USDT dominance. You can see currently falling over there, everything going exactly according to plan. This is part of the reason that the alts are flying. So at 4% right now, we targeting down to 3.79. Watch for a bounce at that level. And thereafter, the next bounce level is going to be 3.63. And if you start to break those levels down, there are lower levels, but let's take it one step at a time. This is the chart that we're currently following. This is going to be a big level to breach. If you can break below that 3.79 level, you will eradicate the possibility of a double bottom. And then hopefully this will start to accelerate very quickly towards the next levels, and we'll see altcoins fly really well, right? So if you look over here, Bitcoin on the left, ETH on the right-hand side, you can see Bitcoin has really reached. Putting in this little pause of consolidation will allow the BBWP, the Bollinger Band Width percentile, to recontract Remember, this is based on those Bollinger Bands, right? So the way the indicator works is if you look over here, as those Bollinger Bands expand out away from each other, you see this indicator rise. And as price consolidates, it allows those Bollinger Bands to recontract. It's simply an indicator that shows how much volatility is there in the market. And the best times to be establishing your positions are going to be in periods of low volatility, right? Like that, low volatility over there. When you get into periods of extremely overheated volatility like that, that's where we tend to find our cycle tops, right? And we can look at the same thing over here on Ethereum. The periods of low volatility over there were those periods where you could have been allocating hard into Ethereum. We did speak about this, and now you can see this is increasing towards the upside. ETH clearly lagging Bitcoin, which does create a bit of an opportunity where people will be rotating from Bitcoin, of course, into ETH over there. So keep an eye out on that. We do also want to highlight over here just very quickly next to that, Solana. So let's quickly look at Solana. You can see Solana tracking very, very similar to Bitcoin as Bitcoin pulls back a little bit and recontracts over here. You have the BBWP also recontracting on Solana. So we'll keep an eye out on that. It simply put means that there is still a lot of gas left in the tank. The run is not over yet, and you would expect that we're about halfway through the move, right? Through this current move, when you start to put in the extreme reds over there, that's where we know things are getting very, very heated. So there it is, Bitcoin using the 3, the 9, and the 30 MA. We'll have a look at Bitcoin at ETH and Solana. You can see Bitcoin pulling back. Currently, if it does lose these levels over here, your next major area of support is going to line up with the same levels that we had the whole of last week. The primary zone where I think a lot of buying pressure will come in is going to be around that $85,000 level, right? If you look at ETH is a little bit stronger. ETH, of course, pushing up strong candle close over there on the 5-day time frame. And currently, you're just getting the crosses between all those MAs, right? The 3 above the 9, which is above the 30, all angled towards the upside, and still in its infancy when you compare to, of course, Bitcoin, which was in its infancy when it was around 69K. Now the move is getting quite mature over there. So Solana, very, very similar to Bitcoin, pulling back over here. Just like if Bitcoin hit $85,000, Solana's primary area of support is going to be coming around this 210 region. That is going to be a major range low that you want to see hold as support. And then we'd expect high lows to form over there on the macro basis, and then continuation onwards and upwards for Solana, right? So in terms of how risky is the move right now, where are we at? Well, we're currently situated into the 0.6 to 0.7 risk band. That's this one over here. Now, price can stay in that environment for a long period of time, at least a year, 361 days, which is interesting because we expect that this cycle should last for approximately that amount of time. Now, I will warn you as well on the shows, which is why you want to subscribe to the channel, turn on that bell notification. When we start to get into the 0.8 to 0.9 to 1 region, right? That is typically your extreme zones. Going back to this chart over here, that would be similar to when Bitcoin, for example, is putting in on the BBWP, those extreme reds like this, and you start to set in a major cycle top. We expect that to occur when Bitcoin's risk metric suggests that we're in the 0.8 to the 0.9 to 1 band. And as you can see over there, 0.8 to 0.9, you typically sit in that zone for around 2 months. And if you go into the 0.9 to 1, well, you only last in that historically for 18 days, right? 18 days, which is not very long. You can isolate this to each of the cycles. You can see cycle 1 didn't even make it into the 0.9 to 1, but in the 0.8 to 9, it was only there for 3 days, and that was the end, right? If we go to cycle 2, same thing. This one lasted 3 days in the 0.9 band and 17 in the 0.8 to 0.9, right? Go to the third cycle. This would have been the 2017 cycle. You can see 0.9 to 1 band, 12 days, 0.8 to 0.9 band, 15 days. And then we go to cycle 4 over here. We lasted for 3 days in the 0.9 to 1 band, and we lasted for 45 days in the 0.8 to 0.9 band. What that simply means over here is we have not yet in this cycle reached 0.8 to 0.9, never mind 0.9 to 1. And what we're going to watch over here is when we do get into those levels, I will update you. That's going to be the time period where we'll start to look to drastically remove a lot of risk from the market in the possibility that we do start to see a cycle top. So in terms of fear and greed, it has dropped now into the 0.8 or the 80 to 90 percentile region from previously where we're sitting at the 90 to 100. Now, we actually want to see price continue to track within this 80 to 100 on the fear and greed index. We want to remain in extreme greed because that's what typically leads to those parabolic advancements, which is our expectation for this rally. But we are getting a drop off now in the daily exchange volume, and we really need to see this level defended. It's dropped below 100 billion. That's a key area where previously we actually rejected, right? If you look over here and you look in March this year, 2024, where Bitcoin rallied up to, of course, $74,000, the volume failed at that $100 billion mark. Volume is a very important metric because it shows us, are people actually transacting, right? Are they actually putting their money where their mouth is and taking the trade, or are they remaining very, very much reserved? Now, this is measured across Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, which are the big three, really. And we need to see this start to tick back towards the upside. You want to flip this $100 billion from prior resistance now into support. If you can successfully flip this into support, then that's where we expect those parabolic advancements like we previously saw in the green dotted areas essentially take place, right? So here it is, Bitcoin. One area that I have that's a little bit of concern, we've spoken about this before. Of course, it is the bear moon, right? We officially have the bear moon, which is just printed over here. Now, there is going to be support levels. The bear moon is never a death sentence, but in a strong trending move or bullish market simply means consolidation or short-term pullback. So what you'll be looking for over here is essentially for bulls to mainly defend this level. This is really going to be a super significant level. I'll highlight it, make it pink over here. That is going to be the $85,000 mark, right? So we want to see bulls hold that up. If we do start to lose these moving averages, we'll be looking for this to hopefully be very, very short-lived. So if the pullback goes like this, lose that temporarily, maybe sometime around the 5th to the 10th of December, we start to find a major bottom over there. And then start to reclaim that, the EMAs will probably roll over like that temporarily. They might not even cross and then turn back up, right? And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something like that over there. It's very, very simple. If you're out of the market now and you want to wait to get in, where do you get in with full confirmation that it's trend continuation? Well, pretty easy, right? If you can get back above the yellow over here, which is going to be your pivot level at $99,300-ish. That's breaking above the local high that's been set there. It's not a confirmed local top yet, but if you get back above that level, it's trend continuation, right? Otherwise, those are the levels. First level of interest or major bounce level is going to be 91,000. Next major level is 85,000. I really want to see price hold up at 85,000, right? So here you can see price pulling back in live time on the 4-hour time frame, coming into, of course, that 50 EMA. If you do lose that 50 EMA, as mentioned just on this previous chart over here, you got your mid-range of this overall range. So we're basing the range like this. You can see the pullback into that region. Let's just grab the highlighter tool, pull back into that region, holds that as support, lines up with the 200 EMA over there, which is currently rising. We mark that as our range lows. We have our mid-range. You can see clear resistance, flips it into support, runs up, and then we have support once again where we looked for the deviation last week and we got it, right? There is still a lot of liquidity above here, so we'll continue to monitor this, and that is your range high, right? So range high coming in at 99,460. It's all written on the right-hand side of the chart, and 92,386 is your mid-range, and $85,000 is the range low. So simply put, this is a low time frame range, and following big moves, price action tends to range for a bit, right? So you'll find that in the markets, it takes just a couple of days, which is why you want to remain in the market, right? And it takes just a couple of days to take this move from here to here, meaning that in short succession, you put in the majority of the moves. Following that big move, you then see price consolidate a bit, just like it did over here, right? It consolidates, and then you lead to the big move, right? So you may lead into that consolidation. So we're trying to establish those range levels nice and early so that you can adequately position. Now, how do you use this in real time? The way that you use it is you monitor the key levels as price approaches the key level. So if this is one of the key levels at 92,000, you're then going to look to the list that I'm about to give you of the 15 different altcoins. And as Bitcoin comes down into those key levels, that's pretty much where you look to deploy into those 15 altcoins, which I am about to give you, right? So that's what we're watching over there. Let's quickly look at ETH. Okay, ETH's 50 EMA is coming in at 3,549. Solana lost the 50, coming in for 200 EMA support at $220. That is going to be a very, very key level because that is also one of your main range levels, right? So if you do mark out all the various different range levels, that's pretty close to where one of your main range levels are, of course, for Solana. So overhead liquidity is still in place over there for Bitcoin around that $98,000 level. This is short trader stop losses, $15 million worth. Let's quickly re-look at the weekly look-back period and just see what that one looks like. Weekly look-back period, also around 70 million. So most of the liquidity seems to be stacked overhead over there. Remember, for those of you in Whale Room, you can jump in there. There's an institutional chart section where we actually use the best, at least, data set that's out there for these things, which is going to be Trading Light and High Block Capital. This is an expensive product, which we're giving you some access to for free, right? Where we're giving our interpretation on it. This one is free, right? This one is free. This is CoinGlass over here. It's completely free, but it's not going to be as accurate as what you'll find with High Block Capital, right? So here it is. ETH still waiting for this, right? Because ETH has been a very, very painful trade for many. Ethereum losing against Bitcoin over here. I said that, for the most part, I would encourage people to just wait for the break of structure the same way that you waited over here on others and Total 3 to break out against Bitcoin. The fact that others in Total 3 have broken structure against Bitcoin over here, clearing this clear level or the significant level over here, means that you're probably going to see the same thing from Ethereum very, very soon as we witness money rotate from Bitcoin into ETH. So that's the level to clear. I'll give it to you exact and precise. It's going to be this zone over here, 0.0399. That's the level to clear. You want to see the ETH BTC ratio break above that to fully confirm that this is most likely going to break out of the falling wedge formation. And we've already seen Bitcoin lead, right? Bitcoin has led by already breaking down the rising wedge formation, which is traditionally a bearish chart pattern. So we need to get into some of the altcoins. What are the altcoins? What are the picks? First and foremost, I do want to let you know this is going to be your last opportunity to take advantage of Cyber Monday, right? I am going to drop the portfolios. More specifically, I'm giving you 15 different coins. In Whale Room, I'm going to drop the exact portfolio that I would buy with the exact levels. I'll still give the rest of you the coins, but if you want the pinpoint entries as well as the hand holding, throughout that portfolio, like we've done with the rest of the members on the other portfolios, this is really, really, really now your final chance on Black Friday. Or at least Cyber Monday, Black Friday is over. If you go through to the link in the description below, so you can even pause the video, go through to Whale Room over there, click on that, go through to Cyber Monday. It's your last chance sale, final opportunity. This is the last call, and it's a little bit sweeter than what was offered on Black Friday, just in case you were still doubtful. How much sweeter? Well, you get 1 extra month, right? So the price of what Black Friday was giving, but for 12 months, we're now giving you 13 months. It should cost you $2,077. You'll be getting the 13 months for $1,099. If that's too rich for your blood and you want to dip your toes, you need to commit to at least 3 months. We've removed the 1 month option. That's not even an option on Cyber Monday anymore. Instead of the $477 or at least for 3 months, you'd pay $359. So you're getting 25% discount. So I am going to drop all these coins that I'm about to cover right now in there for you, as well as an update to the full portfolio. Remember, I'm updating everybody constantly in there. And another big reason as well is if you are relying on the shows daily, remember that a lot of the, at least the Banter staff are going to be wanting to go off over the Christmas period. And consequently, the only way I'm going to be able to communicate with you for about 10 days over December is going to be through the Discord, right? I'm not going to be doing shows because people need to rest. I don't need to rest, but they need to rest. So consequently, no YouTube shows for basically the last 2 weeks of December. If you do want access to all that information, I will be every single day in the Discord over the December time period. So let's get into it. Let's get into what the coins are. I'm going to go through the list one by one. I'm looking at a high time frame scale because these are more longer term swing trades / investments that you're probably going to be holding for the rest of the cycle. I've tried to split it up into, layer ones for stability, call it the blue chips within the space, layer one blockchains as well that have high potential. The reason being is because every single cycle, what we typically see is we see the layer ones perform, right? We see Bitcoin rally first to new all-time highs, then it reaches a point where most people understand that the upside is getting limited, and then we have the rotation into Ethereum as well as all the other layer ones, right? In the price cycle, we saw the likes of 𝗕𝗢𝗢𝗕𝗘, Matic. We had, of course, Solana. All of these types of coins pumped aggressively. Every cycle, there's new layer ones that come out, and they fix a lot of the problems that the other ones had. And more specifically, a lot of the new blockchains or layer ones don't have the underwater damage psychology, right? Because of underwater market participants, they have fresh new people coming in. It's an exciting new project. Sometimes you even get old layer ones that rebrand, but the chart never lies because the ticker mostly remains the same, and you can pull up the prior history, right? So I've tried to focus on a couple of the layer ones that are also relatively new. I do have some things that are older from the price cycle, but I still think will perform. I've then also, combine that in with AI. I believe that the layer ones, AI and the memes are still going to be where the best opportunities are. So we're going to be looking at artificial intelligence projects, and I've limited them to pretty large picks, right? Because I don't want you guys to degen too hard where you're going to risk too much money and you're going to get liquidated, or you're going to lose your money where these things could go to zero. I believe that this portfolio is rock solid. I believe this portfolio will at the very least give you multiples, right? Multiples. How many multiples? I don't know. It could be 3x, 5x. It could even be as high as 10 to 20x. It just depends what market cap this cycle tops out on. Because one of the things that we need to look at pretty strictly is going to be the total cryptocurrency market cap, right? Which you can see is continuing towards the upside. So again, just quickly, before we go in the portfolio, lining that up with the daily exchange volume, yes, this is pulling back, and this kind of gives a little bit of encouragement that we should see continuation, because as long as the total cryptocurrency market cap is going up, it should trade very, very similar to the 7-day daily exchange volume, right? So quickly looking at the total market cap, this is why I say it's truly dependent on where this tops out. Now, you can look at price cycles and how much things run by in those cycles. And, some people say, well, probably around $10 trillion, at least for this cycle. Others are targeting much higher. Other people are targeting $25 trillion within this crypto cycle. So I think if you kind of work on the fib extensions as a proxy for how far things could go, then you're looking at about a 60% to hit the 3.618. I think $10 trillion is a good rough figure of where things would go. That's about a 3x from here. And that's why I say the portfolio could be between 3x and 10x, somewhere within that region. So let's get into it. I know many people are just looking for a double, right? If they're coming later into the market, they just want to double their money, and that's the end of it. So let's get into it. What are the coins going to be? I'm looking at, first and foremost, I think that it's worthwhile for everybody to have Solana in their portfolio, right? So that's coin number one. I'll show you the list as well. I'll print the list and put it into the Whale Room Discord for those of you who are wanting it. The rest of you, just take notes with a pen and paper or write it down on your phone. So Solana, we can go over all the various different levels. I think if you can pick up Solana around $200 to $210, that's going to be a great entry zone. Next one to have, I do think that it's worthwhile having ETH. I think that ETH is actually going to outperform Solana in the short term as ETH pumps up. I spoke about this already in Whale Room last week. As ETH pumps up over here, I think that you could get an aggressive quick move up into the $4,000 region, whilst Solana might actually come down, right? So if you do want to trade it that way, you could go heavy into ETH now and then reposition, some of the ETH back into Solana. So I'd look for relatively equal weighting between Solana and ETH, because I think that they will both do relatively well, right? So I think that ETH to $10,000 is a real possibility within the cycle. And in actual fact, you can always just look at the measured move of the cup and handle formation, right? If you look at the measured move, breaking out of the handle over there, that takes it at least to $7,000. So we've studied this one a lot. So Solana, ETH, next one that I'd put into the list, something relatively new that I think stands a lot of potential, it's Aptos, right? Aptos at current levels, I think is fair value. I think it's a decent zone to gain your entry, pretty much right over here, around this $13 to as low as, if you get a bit of a pullback to 11.35, I think that's a fair value zone. This is mid-range, right? We're studying it very, very simply. Mid-range, range low, mid-range, and range high. Once this breaks above range high, it moves into price discovery, and that will do super well. So we got Solana, ETH, Aptos, next one that we have on the list, and I would still buy today. By the way, everything that I'm giving you now, I would still enter into pretty much right here, right now, today, and I think it will do very, very well, right? So the next one is TON, right? You have TON over there. Once it takes out this high over here at $8, price discovery is the name of the game. We're expecting a very, very quick move from there up to 11.54 and then probably into even higher prices from that point onwards. We are already in this position. We have been for a long time. But if you are looking to gain an entry, holding the mid-range over here is a very key level. That's 642. That is the zone where you can start to get your entry. So that is TON. Next one that I have is Casper, right? There it is. Casper starting to move. At the end of the day, you have a very long-term range that's formed over here, and it's very healthy. I know it might frustrate a lot of people if you overly invested into Casper and your positions are too big. Maybe you feel like you're missing out because everything else has been running. Well, this is range, but this creates a very healthy base, a foundation that will stand super strong. And when this actually clears this level with multiple candle closes above 19 cents, you can expect that this thing probably will start to move towards the $1 mark very, very quickly, right? So we've spoken about the times to get invested into this, but mid-range level, if you do happen to get a throwback into that zone, theoretically, you could just allocate right now today as the rest of the market breaks out. But if Bitcoin does come down to 85, you might get another flush down into 14. I've been preaching for the last 2 to 3 weeks why that 14 cents region is a good zone to get an allocation in, right? So if you move back to mid-range, Casper, that's going to be the level. I could have put Sui in, but I feel that Sui's already run a lot. That's why I didn't put Sui in. So the next one that I put in was Injective, right? Injective coming into mid-range right now, similar to Casper, very long-term range, bouncing between the range low and the range high, reclaiming the mid-range over here. I think this is a decent spot at $30. Once this expands and gets above 42, it's going to be very, very quick, and it should make it up to about 70, 75, and thereafter into the hundreds when the bull market moves into price discovery, right? Especially when the total cryptocurrency market cap moves up into new all-time highs, right? Which we haven't yet seen. Okay, so again, coins, Solana, ETH, Aptos, TON, Casper, Injective. Next up, we have NEAR. I like NEAR because it's a layer one and it's part of the AI narrative. In terms of, when to allocate, well, this one you should have allocated into a long time ago. We gave this chart multiple times. If we go into the NEAR chart over here, this is part of the positions. Do I have it on this trade as well? I don't have NEAR on this account, but I have it on the 𝗬𝗥𝗡 account. We already established a pretty sizable position. Let me just quickly have a look over here. So on the 𝗬𝗥𝗡 account, here it is. Here's the NEAR trade. We're up almost 269%, $14,000 up on this particular trade over there on the 𝗬𝗥𝗡 account. And that's NEAR, right? So where would I allocate now? Let's just quickly go back on this chart and see if there is anywhere of interest. It's kind of tough because it started to move. It swept this liquidity. And when you do that, it tends to move aggressively from that point. I think if you get lucky enough to get a throwback into the 550 to 580 region, NEAR, that's probably going to be the zone where you want to pick up some NEAR. So at the end of the day, I do think that NEAR will trade all the way back to these highs and probably beyond. So longer term, I think it's a decent zone. All right, let me quickly find my list, which just fell off the screen now. Okay, so that's NEAR. Next up, the next one that we have, also part of the AI sector, we'll scroll down over there, is going to be, of course, Render. Now, guys, there are higher beta plays that you can pick. There's more risky, lower cap coins that you can pick. But I'm trying to give people things that are, there's no such thing as a sure thing, but as close to a sure thing as I can possibly give you. And I think Render is one of those, breaking this downsloping trend line over here. Beautiful rounded bottom over there, coming back into key support. Again, we established these positions way earlier, right? So already here's the Render trade, up $10,000, 200% on Bybit. We took the same trade over here on 𝗬𝗥𝗡, also up almost $10,000 and 213% over there. But I would still be entering into NEAR even at these current levels. And I think that NEAR will trade up to the 3.618, up to about $41 over time. So decent one to add into the portfolio over there. Next up, now we go into, one more. I got one more of the AI coins, which is going to be FET, right? There it is, FET. We also established spot positions on this way back, I think into this low over here, which was a perfect back test into the range breakout level. So this was your range high coming in at 81. Whether you're going to get that again, I don't know necessarily. Let's go look on the daily time frame to see if we can get anything more specific for you. Remember, I'll be giving you exact levels in the Whale Discord. That's going to be the best place to get it. Take advantage of Cyber Monday. But more or less, I'd be looking for, any throwback into this region over here, which is pretty much where price is right now, right? 170, if you get lucky enough to get a wick into 170 or as low down as 150, that's going to be the zone for FET, right? FET joined forces with a bunch of other AI projects. So they're kind of like this massive powerhouse that did a huge joint venture. I think it will do pretty well. Next, now we go into the meme coins, right? Which I think has still got massive opportunity. You'll notice that the first one that I have over here is to get you exposure to base, and that's going to be Brett, right? Even though Brett's broken out, even though I've spoken about this so many times, I would still be willing to allocate here into Brett. I'd probably just employ a more dollar cost averaging strategy to smooth out my average entry into this particular trade in case there is interim volatility and it comes all the way back down to 16. I think if you get it down at 16 cents, that's going to be a rock solid zone for Brett. And even at current prices, I would still be willing to allocate, right? So speaking of Brett, you can see I updated the Whale Room community on this yesterday, and it's now, yesterday was actually 10.5% of the total portfolio, and this started off around 2%. So this is on CoinStats as a portfolio tracker. This is my actual portfolio over here. There's a whole bunch of different coins in there. I've connected, hundreds of different Phantom wallets, MetaMask wallets, and centralized exchanges. It collates everything into one easy to use interface where you can monitor all those various different positions over there. So you can see Sol's my biggest position, followed by Brett, Casper, Mog. Mog, I could have put Mog on this list over here as well, but it's not in the perfect zone that I necessarily look to enter. Popcat is on the list. I'm going to give that to you now. If any of you want this portfolio management platform, I don't mean to be a cold-blooded shiller here today, but it is Cyber Monday, and I want you to take advantage, while the last day is on, and that's giving you a massive 80% discount, right? This is costing you $2.80 a month, and you can track all of your coins, right? So you can see it collates everything in one place. You can set goals. You can set alarms and alerts for when to take profit. So on your trading view, instead of your trading view going off and sending you emails, you'll actually get the portfolio that will say, let's say Solana or Phantom has come into your key zone, your profit taking zone, or this has come into your buy zone, and you can get in over there, right? So that's where I'm tracking that. That's the next one. That's Brett, right? So Brett is on the list. Use the link below if you do want that CoinStats membership. It's the biggest discount that they've ever given. Okay, next one, Popcat. So I said Popcat was the next one. That is, let's just quickly have a look at the Popcat chart. Where is our Popcat? Here it is, Popcat. So Popcat, obviously on its way down. I think if you get lucky enough to get Popcat here at 95 cents, this is obviously in a downtrend in the short term. So I think 20% more, if you're lucky enough to get it into that zone, that's going to be a major SR flip region where you want to see support found on Popcat. I still think Popcat will be a top performer towards the end of the cycle. So maybe for this one, wait a little bit, right? Wait a little bit for 95 cents. But I'd put that onto the list. Similar to Popcat, it's also coming down, and you can wait for some lower levels. It is going to be, and where is it? It is Fog. Where's Fog? Let's just quickly have a look over here. I'd still add Fog to the list. Let's quickly find it. Where did it disappear to? There it is. There's Fog. So Fog also coming down. Let's just maybe have a look on the daily chart to see if there is any specific areas where you could enter. Okay, so here's Fog. Pulling that up over there. There it is. Okay, so it's at the 50% level right now. This is key. You actually want to see it bounce from here. I would probably have to look on another chart to get more price history. Maybe the 50% level will be slightly adjusted if you look on DEX tools. We don't have the time to do that. Well, remembers, I'll do it for you guys later. But very, very quickly, just looking at I value, if you do get a sweep down into 25 cents, I think that's going to be a screaming buy for Fog. That's where you'll be looking for the next major high low. Remember, these coins very rarely just die off when you're getting a blue chip, right? You get one big move up, usually you get a correction, then you go for the next pump, So this is kind of like the test pump. Then you go for the next pump, you have another pullback, and then you go for the blow off top. So this is only just finished the test pump, coming in for the dip now on FOG. I would add that to the list as well. Next up, we have Giga, right? Giga Chat also has had quite a big pullback. Let's actually have a look at it on the daily time frame. And I still have faith in this. I still think that this one will do well. So quickly pulling up Giga Chat. Okay, there it is. It hit the key level the first time, you got the move up. You're now looking for a high low to form. Let's just clean this up because it is a little bit messy. There it is. All right. So anywhere around this region over here, correlated to what Bitcoin's doing. If you get a move down into 0.03090, of course, that's your strong buy zone. Otherwise, expect that there could be a high low that forms anywhere around here, right? In relation to this. So low, high, low, and then you start to create that W formation. And I actually may even allocate more into Giga, even though I'm long from the yellow box down here, right? That's where the rest of Whale Room got into that particular trade. Okay, we have to have a little bit of exposure into other sectors. The next two sectors that I chose specifically was Prime, right? So let's go to Prime. That is gaming, right? So if you go into the gaming sector, you know that I have a Prime position on the table already. If you go in here, this is a leverage trade. I also have 𝗲𝗏𝗡, but I wouldn't necessarily enter into that now. But for a cycle long play, Prime, I am happy to still take a position on this. Here's the chart. It hit TP1, a little bit of a pullback in play over here as expected from TP1, hit that level, currently pulling back. Watch as it approaches those previous lows around 11. If it starts to find support around this 11.50 and can hold above $11, well, that's your entry zone, right? That's where you're looking for the next high low and then continuation onwards and upwards. And then finally, I have here 𝗬𝗢𝗓, right? Let's go to 𝗬𝗢𝗓. 𝗬𝗢𝗓 USDT, let's just quickly pull that up. I do think it's worthwhile having 𝗬𝗢𝗓 in the portfolio. It's broken the falling wedge over here. It's starting to move. Where do you enter? I mean, pretty much right over here, I think is still fair game. I think that, hard end validation can be below that candle at $20.96. So that gives you broad exposure. You got the layer ones. Again, you have some AI. You have some meme coins. You have exposure to one thing within gaming. Maybe we'll update this a little bit more. And then after that, and then you have the one file storage, right? File storage. But we know that 𝗬𝗢𝗓 is doing a bit more than that. It's a little bit of a bigger deal. And let's see what else. So if you want to join the Whale Room members, remember, guys, of course, guys are putting in huge profits over here. Everything will be updated in this list over here. You also have access to all of the educational material, videos, to get you started if you are somebody new to trading, and will help you through the entire process. So it is your last day. Sign up, join the wealthiest community in the world. Cyber Monday, 42% off. You're getting the 13-month for free, right? So that's the difference between Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And that's the last special. That is it. You're not going to get a better special until next year, right? Next year. But at that point, prices will already have gone up. So that's it from me, folks. I will see all of you on the next one. Use the link in the description below, and I'll catch you on the next one. Have a great day, and cheers for now.